The winter wind bit through Nathan Pierce's expensive coat as if it were made of paper. He sat on a cold park bench, his shoulders shaking, his face buried in his hands. Fresh snow covered the ground around him, pristine and white, but he barely noticed. The world had turned gray 3 years ago when cancer stole his wife, and now on this Christmas Eve, the colors refused to return. He had everything money could buy. The penthouse apartment overlooking the city. The private jet. The company worth billions. Stock options that made financial advisors weep with joy. But none of it mattered. Not one single dollar could buy back the warmth of Elizabeth's hand in his. Not 1 cent could return her laugh to his empty home. Nathan didn't even know why he'd come to this park. His driver had been taking him home from the office when something made him ask to be let out here. Maybe it was the families he'd seen through store windows, their arms full of wrapped presents and their faces full of smiles. Maybe it was the knowledge that he'd spend another Christmas eating takeout alone in his cold apartment, surrounded by furniture that cost more than most people's houses but provided zero comfort. His tears fell freely now, freezing on his cheeks in the December cold. He'd given up caring who saw him. The park was nearly empty anyway. Most people were home with their families, warm and happy and together. Where he should be. Where he would never be again. "Mister, why are you crying?" The small voice cut through his grief like a bell. Nathan looked up, blinking away tears, to find a little girl standing in front of him. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old, bundled in a bright red coat that looked worn but clean. Her dark brown skin glowed against the white snow, and her eyes held more concern than any adult had shown him in months. "Lydia, baby, come back here." A woman's voice called out, warm and worried. But the little girl didn't move. She tilted her head, studying Nathan with the serious expression only children could manage. "Are you sad because you're alone? It's Christmas Eve. Nobody should be alone on Christmas Eve." Nathan tried to speak, but his throat had closed up. He managed a small nod. The little girl's face brightened with an idea. "Don't cry, mister. You can borrow my mom. She's really nice and she makes the best hot chocolate and she always says there's enough love to go around. You can come have dinner with us." Lydia. The woman had reached them now, slightly out of breath. She was beautiful, Nathan noticed even through his fog of grief. Her African-American features were soft and kind, her natural hair pulled back in a simple style. She wore nursing scrubs and a deep blue under her heavy winter coat, and her eyes held the same warmth as her daughter's voice. "I'm so sorry, sir. She sometimes talks to strangers when I've told her not to. Come on, baby." She reached for her daughter's hand but Lydia pulled away. "But Mama, he's crying. He's all alone and sad and it's Christmas Eve. We have to help him. You always say we help people who are hurting." The woman looked at Nathan then really looked at him. Her eyes widened slightly, probably recognizing him from the business pages, but she didn't say anything about it. Instead, her expression softened with genuine concern. "Are you all right, sir? Do you need me to call someone for you?" Nathan finally found his voice. It came out rough and broken. "There's no one to call. I'm sorry. Your daughter is very kind. You've raised her well." The woman bit her lip, clearly torn between caution and compassion. Her daughter tugged on her coat. "Mama, please. Remember what Grandma always said? When you have a chance to be kind, you take it. This man needs kindness. I can tell." The woman looked down at her daughter, then back at Nathan. He could see the internal debate playing out on her face. He should tell her to go, that he'd be fine, that a stranger crying on a park bench on Christmas Eve was probably not someone to trust. But the words wouldn't come. Because he wasn't fine. He was drowning and this little girl had just thrown him a rope. "My name is Janelle Harris," the woman said finally, her voice gentle but firm. "This is my daughter Lydia. We live just 2 blocks from here. We don't have much, but we do have a warm apartment and enough food for one more person. If you'd like to join us for Christmas Eve dinner, you're welcome." Nathan stared at her. When was the last time someone had invited him somewhere without wanting something in return? Without hoping to get close to his money or his influence? This woman didn't know him. She only saw a man in pain, and her response was to offer help. "I couldn't impose," he said automatically, even as everything in him screamed to say yes. "It's not an imposition if you're invited," Janelle replied. "And my daughter is right. Nobody should be alone on Christmas Eve. So I'm asking you, as one human being to another, will you please come have dinner with us?" Lydia bounced on her toes. "Please say yes, mister. Mama made her special chicken and there's green beans and mashed potatoes and rolls and everything. And after dinner we watch a Christmas movie and drink hot chocolate. It's the best." Nathan looked at this mother and daughter, These strangers offering him more than all his wealthy friends had in 3 years. His chest felt tight, but for the first time in forever, it wasn't just from grief. It was from something else. Something that felt like hope. "My name is Nathan," he said quietly. "Nathan Pierce. And yes, if you're sure, I would very much like to join you for dinner." Lydia's face lit up like the sun. "Yeah. Come on, Mr. Nathan. Our apartment isn't fancy, but it's warm and cozy, and Mama says that's what matters." Janelle gave him a soft smile. "She's right about that. Come on then. Let's get out of this cold." As Nathan stood and fell into step beside them, Lydia reached up and took his hand without hesitation. Her small, warm fingers wrapped around his cold ones, and something inside his chest cracked open. Not painfully, but like ice beginning to thaw. He had no idea what he was doing. He had no idea why he was following these strangers to their home. But as Lydia chattered happily about Christmas cookies and Santa and all the things 6-year-olds found important, Nathan felt the first flicker of warmth he'd known in 3 long, cold years. Maybe his wife would have approved of this. Elizabeth had always said that the best gifts came from the most unexpected places. She'd believed in signs and fate and love that transcended loss. If she were here, she probably would have pushed him to accept this invitation even faster. They turned the corner, leaving the park behind. The snow continued to fall, covering their footprints, erasing the evidence of the broken man on the bench. Ahead of them, warm lights glowed from apartment windows. Behind one of those windows was Janelle and Lydia's home, and for tonight at least, it would be his refuge too. Nathan didn't know what tomorrow would bring. He didn't know if this kindness would change anything or if he'd wake up on Christmas morning still drowning in grief. But for now, in this moment, walking through the snow with a little girl's hand in his and her mother's compassion warming him from the inside, he had something he hadn't had in years. He had hope. Have you ever felt so alone that a stranger's kindness seemed like a miracle? This story shows us how a simple act of compassion can change everything. If this beginning touched your heart, please subscribe to see how Nathan's journey unfolds. Comment below, would you have accepted Janelle's invitation or would fear have held you back? The Harris apartment was exactly as Nathan had imagined. Small, modest, clean, and somehow more welcoming than any 5-star hotel he'd ever stayed in. The walls were painted a soft cream color, decorated with Lydia's crayon drawings and a few family photos. A small Christmas tree stood in the corner by the window, its ornaments clearly handmade and collected over years rather than purchased all at once from an expensive store. "Make yourself at home," Janelle said, hanging up her coat. "The bathroom is down the hall if you need it. Dinner will be ready in about 20 minutes. Can I show Mr. Nathan my room, Mama? Please?" Janelle smiled at her daughter. "If Mr. Nathan doesn't mind." "I don't mind at all," Nathan said. He meant it. Lydia's enthusiasm was infectious. The little girl grabbed his hand again and pulled him down the narrow hallway. Her room was tiny, barely big enough for a twin bed, a small dresser and a bookshelf. But it was filled with love. Stuffed animals lined the bed. Books were stacked neatly on the shelf. Drawings covered every available wall space. "This is Mr. Buttons," Lydia said, holding up a worn teddy bear. "He's been with me since I was a baby. And this is Princess, and that's Spots, and that one is George." Nathan listened as she introduced him to each stuffed animal, giving him their complete histories. It was the most normal conversation he'd had in years. No one asking for investments. No one pitching business ideas. Just a little girl sharing her treasures with someone she'd decided to trust. "Your room is very nice," Nathan said when she'd finished. "It's small, but Mama says good things come in small packages." "That's me. I'm small but mighty." Lydia flexed her arms to show her muscles. Nathan found himself smiling. Actually smiling. "Your mama is very wise." "Dinner's ready," Janelle called from the kitchen. The table was set simply with 3 mismatched plates and cups. A vase in the center held a few fresh evergreen branches, filling the room with the scent of winter. The food was arranged in serving bowls, steam still rising from the dishes. "I hope you like home cooking," Janelle said as they sat down. "It's nothing fancy." "It looks wonderful," Nathan replied honestly. His personal chef prepared elaborate meals that he barely tasted. This simple chicken dinner looked better than anything he'd eaten in months. Lydia reached out and took both their hands. "We always say grace, Mr. Nathan. You don't have to if you don't want to, but we do." Nathan found his hands being squeezed by the two of them. Janelle's hand was warm and strong, calloused from hard work. Lydia's was soft and small. Both felt like lifelines. Janelle's grace was simple and heartfelt. "Thank you for this food, for this day, and for bringing someone new to share it with us." May we always have enough to share, and may we never forget to be grateful. Amen. Amen, Lydia echoed cheerfully. Amen, Nathan whispered. The meal was delicious. Not because the food was gourmet, but because it was made with care and shared with love. Lydia kept up a steady stream of chatter, telling Nathan about school and her best friend and the book she was reading. Janelle interjected occasionally with gentle corrections or additions, her eyes soft as she watched her daughter. So, Nathan, Janelle said during a rare pause in Lydia's monologue, what do you do for work? He'd been dreading this question. The moment she knew who he really was, everything would change. But he'd promised himself no more lies. I run a company. Pierce Industries. We do commercial real estate development. Janelle nodded slowly. Recognition dawned in her eyes, but she didn't react the way most people did. No widening eyes. No sudden change in demeanor. Just a thoughtful look. I've heard of it, she said simply. You build those big office buildings downtown. Among other things, yes. That must be a lot of responsibility. Nathan was surprised by her response. Most people either asked about his money or became intimidated. Janelle did neither. She just acknowledged his work and moved on. What about you? He asked. You're wearing scrubs. Are you a nurse? I am. I work at City General Hospital. Pediatric ward. I've been there for 8 years now. Mama helps sick kids feel better, Lydia added proudly. She's the best nurse in the whole hospital. I'm sure she is, Nathan said, smiling at Janelle. She blushed slightly and changed the subject. After dinner, Nathan insisted on helping with the dishes despite Janelle's protests. They stood side by side at the small sink, her washing and him drying. It was domestic and comfortable and completely foreign to him. He couldn't remember the last time he dried a dish. Thank you for inviting me, he said quietly as they worked. You didn't have to do that. Lydia was right, Janelle replied. Nobody should be alone on Christmas Eve. Especially not someone who's hurting. How did you know I was hurting? I could have been dangerous. She gave him a sideways look. I'm a pediatric nurse. I've learned to read people pretty well. And I saw something in your eyes. Grief. The kind that goes bone deep. I lost Lydia's father 4 years ago. Car accident. I recognized that look. Nathan was quiet for a moment. My wife. 3 years ago. Cancer. I'm sorry, Janelle said softly. That's a hard road to walk. How did you get through it? She handed him the last plate to dry. I had Lydia. She needed me, so I had to keep going. And I had my faith, my family, my work. But mostly I had to make a choice every single day to keep living. Some days that choice was harder than others. But I made it. And here I am. Here you are, Nathan repeated. Making dinner for strangers and raising a beautiful daughter and somehow making it all look easy. Janelle laughed. It's not easy. Trust me. There are days I cry in the shower because I don't know how I'm going to pay all the bills. Days I'm so tired I can barely stand. But then Lydia smiles at me or says something funny, and I remember why I keep going. She's special. She is. Janelle dried her hands on a towel. She gets her heart from her father. He was always bringing home strays. People, animals didn't matter. If something needed help, he helped it. Lydia inherited that gene. I'm grateful she did, Nathan said. I don't know what would have happened if she hadn't talked to me tonight. Janelle met his eyes. Are you going to be okay? When you leave here, I mean. Do you have someone to call? Someone who can check on you? The concern in her voice was genuine. This woman barely knew him, but she cared. Really cared. When was the last time someone had asked if he was okay and actually wanted to know the answer? I'll be all right, he said. It wasn't entirely true, but it wasn't entirely false either. Something had shifted tonight. He wasn't sure what, but he felt different. Less hollow. Movie time, Lydia called from the living room. Come on, Mr. Nathan. We're watching Elf. It's my favorite. They settled on the couch, Lydia between them, a bowl of popcorn on her lap. The movie played on a small television that had definitely seen better days, but Lydia's joy in watching it was infectious. She laughed at all the funny parts, even though she'd clearly seen it dozens of times. About halfway through, she leaned against Nathan's side. Without thinking, he put his arm around her small shoulders. She snuggled closer, completely trusting, completely comfortable. His throat tightened with emotion. He glanced at Janelle and found her watching them with soft eyes. She gave him a small smile, understanding somehow what this moment meant to him. By the time the movie ended, Lydia was yawning. Bedtime, little one, Janelle said, standing up. But I want to stay up with Mr. Nathan, Lydia protested sleepily. Mr. Nathan will be here when you wake up, Janelle said, then caught herself. I mean, if he wants to stay. We have a couch. It's not much, but it's comfortable. Nathan knew he should say no. Knew he should go back to his own apartment, his own space, his own loneliness. But the thought of that empty penthouse made his chest tighten. If you're sure I'm not imposing, I'd love to stay, he heard himself say. Lydia perked up immediately. Really? You'll be here for Christmas morning? I'll be here. Best Christmas ever, the little girl declared. After Lydia was tucked into bed, Janelle brought Nathan a pillow and a warm blanket. I'm sorry the accommodations aren't better. They're perfect, Nathan said. And he meant it. This lumpy couch in this small apartment with these kind strangers felt more like home than anywhere he'd been in 3 years. Janelle hesitated at the hallway entrance. Nathan? Thank you for accepting our invitation. I think maybe we needed you as much as you needed us tonight. Before he could respond, she disappeared down the hall. Nathan lay on the couch, the borrowed blanket pulled up to his chin, and stared at the small Christmas tree with its homemade ornaments and cheap lights. For the first time since Elizabeth died, he felt something other than grief. He felt grateful. Nathan woke to the sound of whispered giggles and the scent of coffee. For a confused moment he didn't know where he was. Then it all came flooding back. The park. The little girl. The invitation. The warmth. He opened his eyes to find Lydia sitting cross-legged on the floor beside the couch, watching him with barely contained excitement. You're awake, she stage whispered. Mama said I had to let you sleep, but I've been waiting forever. It's Christmas. Nathan sat up, running a hand through his hair. He was still wearing yesterday's clothes, rumpled and slept in. His watch told him it was only 7 in the morning, but Lydia looked like she'd been up for hours. Merry Christmas, he said, his voice rough from sleep. Merry Christmas, Mr. Nathan. Come on, Mama made coffee and there are cinnamon rolls for breakfast and then we can open presents. She tugged on his hand, pulling him off the couch. Nathan followed her into the kitchen, where Janelle stood at the stove in a bright green sweater and jeans, her hair loose around her shoulders. She looked beautiful and relaxed, so different from the tired nurse in scrubs from last night. Good morning, she said with a smile. I hope Lydia didn't wake you. I was already awake, Nathan lied. Lydia giggled, clearly not believing him. Coffee's fresh, Janelle said, pouring him a cup. How do you take it? Black is fine. The coffee was strong and good, not the fancy espresso his machine at home made, but better somehow. They ate breakfast at the small table, Lydia practically vibrating with excitement. Can we open presents now, Mama? Please? Janelle laughed. Yes, baby. We can open presents now. The living room was filled with soft morning light. The Christmas tree looked even more magical in the daylight, its mismatched ornaments each telling a story. Under the tree sat a small pile of presents, maybe 5 or 6 boxes, all wrapped in paper that had been carefully saved and reused from previous years. Mr. Nathan should go first, Lydia declared, since he's our guest. Oh, I don't have anything to open, Nathan said quickly. This is your Christmas, not mine. But Lydia was already pulling a small package from under the tree. This one is for you. Mama and I made it last night after you fell asleep. Nathan took the gift with trembling hands. It was wrapped in Sunday comics and tied with a red ribbon. Inside was a handmade card. The front had Lydia's drawing of 3 stick figures holding hands, labeled Me, Mama, and Mr. Nathan. Inside, in Janelle's neat handwriting, it read, Thank you for spending Christmas with us. You're always welcome here. Love, Janelle and Lydia. Nathan couldn't speak. His throat had closed up completely. This simple card, made with love by people who barely knew him, meant more than any expensive gift he'd received in his entire life. Do you like it? Lydia asked anxiously. I love it, Nathan managed. Thank you. Both of you. Janelle's eyes were suspiciously bright. You're welcome. Now, Lydia, open yours. Nathan watched as the little girl tore into her presents with pure joy. There weren't many, but each one was chosen with care. A new set of colored pencils. A book about space. A stuffed rabbit. A puzzle. And from Janelle, a beautiful red dress for church. Lydia hugged each gift like it was priceless. Nathan noticed that Janelle didn't open anything for herself. When he asked, she simply smiled and said, watching Lydia open hers is gift enough. But Nathan could see the worn edges of her sweater. The scuffs on her shoes. The way she carefully counted out exact change at the grocery store yesterday. This woman gave everything to her daughter and kept nothing for herself. After presents, they spent the morning in comfortable companionship. Lydia built her new puzzle on the floor while Nathan and Janelle sat on the couch, drinking coffee and talking. Nathan learned that Janelle had grown up in the city, gone to nursing school on scholarships, met her husband at a community center volunteer event. She spoke about him with love but without the crushing grief Nathan still felt for Elizabeth. You learn to carry it differently, she explained when he asked how she'd moved forward. The grief doesn't get smaller but you get stronger. You build your life around it instead of letting it crush you. Some days are harder than others. Holidays especially. But having Lydia helps. She keeps me grounded in the present instead of lost in the past. I don't have that, Nathan admitted. I don't have anyone keeping me grounded. So I just keep working. Keep building things. Keep moving so I don't have to feel. Janelle studied him thoughtfully. What would your wife want for you? If she could tell you right now, what would she say? Nathan closed his eyes. Elizabeth's face appeared in his mind, bright and clear. She'd tell me to stop hiding. She'd say that grief is the price of love, but love is worth the price. She'd want me to live again, really live, not just exist. She sounds wise. She was. She was everything. Nathan opened his eyes to find Janelle watching him with understanding. I don't know how to do this without her. You take it one day at a time. One moment at a time if that's all you can manage. And you let people help you. Like Lydia and I helped you yesterday. Like you're helping us right now just by being here. I'm not helping anything. You're the ones who saved me. You're helping more than you know, Janelle said softly. Lydia misses having a father figure. And well, it's nice to have adult conversation with someone who isn't asking me to change bedpans or administer medication. Nathan laughed. It felt rusty, like a door that hadn't been opened in years, but it felt good. Mama, I'm hungry, Lydia announced. Again? You just ate breakfast. That was forever ago. Janelle checked her watch and laughed. It was 2 hours ago, but I suppose we can have an early lunch. Nathan, would you like to stay? I was going to make grilled cheese sandwiches. You should say no. Should thank them for their kindness and go back to his own life. But sitting in this warm apartment with these two incredible people felt right in a way nothing had felt right in 3 years. I'd love to stay, he said. But only if you let me help cook. Making lunch with Janelle felt natural. They moved around the small kitchen in comfortable synchronization, her buttering bread while he sliced cheese. Lydia sat at the table, coloring in a new coloring book, occasionally looking up to ask random questions. Mr. Nathan, do you have a house? I have an apartment. Is it big? Very big. Bigger than ours? Much bigger. Lydia considered this. Is it full of love like ours is? Nathan's hand stilled on the cheese slicer. He looked at this wise little girl who asked questions that cut straight to the heart of things. No, he said honestly. It's not full of love. That's sad. You should come here more often. Our apartment is small but we have lots of love to share. Right, Mama? Right, baby, Janelle said, her voice thick with emotion. After lunch they played board games. Nathan couldn't remember the last time he'd played board games. Probably not since he was a child himself. But here, with Lydia's competitive spirit and Janelle's good-natured teasing, it was fun. Simple, uncomplicated fun. As the afternoon wore on, Nathan found himself dreading the moment he'd have to leave. This tiny apartment had become a sanctuary, and these two people had become, what? Friends? More than strangers, certainly. People who had shown him that maybe, just maybe, there was still light in the world. I should probably go soon, he said reluctantly as the sun began to set. Let you have your evening. Do you have somewhere to be? Janelle asked gently. No. Just my empty apartment. Then stay for dinner. It's just leftovers from yesterday but there's plenty. Nathan looked at her, this strong, kind woman who kept offering him grace he didn't deserve. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. Because yesterday you were a person in pain who needed help. Today you're someone who's becoming a friend. And friends take care of each other. She paused, then added, unless you don't want to stay. We don't want to keep you if you need to go. I want to stay, Nathan said immediately. More than anything. Lydia cheered. Yes. More time with Mr. Nathan. That evening felt like a gift. They ate dinner together, watched another movie and talked about everything and nothing. When it grew late, Janelle again offered her couch and again Nathan accepted. This time, when she brought him the pillow and blanket, she hesitated before leaving. Nathan, I know we've only known each other for 2 days but I want you to know something. You're welcome here anytime. I mean that. If you need somewhere to go, if you need someone to talk to, if you just need to not be alone, our door is open. Why? He asked again, needing to understand. Because I've been where you are. After my husband died, I felt like I was drowning. And people helped pull me back to shore. My mother, my friends, my church family. They reminded me that I wasn't alone, that life was still worth living. So now I pass that kindness forward. It's what we're supposed to do, Nathan. Take care of each other. She squeezed his shoulder gently and left him alone with his thoughts. Nathan lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, his mind racing. 2 days ago, he'd been sitting on a park bench ready to give up. Now he was lying in a stranger's apartment feeling more human than he had in years. How had this happened? How had one little girl's compassion opened a door he'd thought was sealed forever? He didn't have answers. But he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He wasn't going to let these people disappear from his life. Somehow, some way he was going to find a way to be part of their world. Not as the billionaire CEO but as just Nathan. The man who needed them as much as they seemed to need him. As sleep finally claimed him, Nathan smiled. For the first time in 3 years he had something to look forward to. Tomorrow he would see Janelle and Lydia again. And that was enough. The days after Christmas blurred together in the best possible way. Nathan found himself calling Janelle every morning just to say hello. She never seemed surprised to hear from him, always answering with warmth in her voice. They talked about small things at first. The weather. How Lydia was enjoying her Christmas presents. What Nathan had for breakfast. But gradually the conversations deepened. Janelle told him about her struggles at the hospital, about difficult patients and long shifts that left her exhausted. Nathan shared about his own work, about the loneliness of corporate leadership and the emptiness of success without someone to share it with. You should come by for dinner, Janelle said on the third day. Lydia keeps asking when Mr. Nathan is coming back. I don't want to impose. Nathan, we've had this conversation. It's not imposing if I'm inviting you. So unless you don't want to come, I want to come. Very much. That evening, arriving at their apartment felt like coming home. Lydia threw her arms around his waist the moment he walked through the door, chattering about her day at the community center's winter program. Janelle welcomed him with a hug that felt natural and right. Over dinner, Nathan learned that Janelle's car had broken down that morning. She'd taken the bus to work, adding an extra hour to her already long commute. What's wrong with it? Nathan asked. The mechanic said it's the transmission. It's going to cost more to fix than the car is worth. She tried to sound casual, but Nathan could hear the stress underneath. I'll figure something out. Maybe I can find a good used car somewhere. Nathan's mind immediately went to solutions. He could buy her a new car. A reliable one, safe for her and Lydia. But something held him back. He remembered what Janelle had said about wanting to help without overwhelming. He needed to approach this carefully. Let me make some calls, he said. I know some people who might be able to help get it fixed for less. Nathan, I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm offering. Please let me help. It would make me feel good to do something useful. Janelle looked like she wanted to argue, but then Lydia piped up. Mama, remember what you told Mr. Nathan? About letting people help? Maybe you should listen to your own advice. Janelle laughed despite herself. When did you get so wise? I learned from the best, Lydia said, grinning. Nathan made the calls the next morning. By afternoon, Janelle's car was not only fixed but had received a complete tune-up and new tires. When she called to thank him, her voice was thick with emotion. Nathan, I can't accept this. It's too much. The mechanic said everything was paid for, plus the bill was way too low for all the work done. The mechanic owed me a favor, Nathan lied smoothly. In truth, he'd paid the full cost and given the mechanic a generous bonus to keep quiet about it. Please, Janelle. Makes me happy to help. And Lydia needs you to have reliable transportation. There was a long pause. Then quietly, thank you. You have no idea what this means to me. I think I do, Nathan replied softly. As the week went on, Nathan found more reasons to visit. He brought pizza for dinner one night. Another evening he arrived with a bag of groceries, claiming he'd bought too much and didn't want it to go to waste. Janelle saw through his excuses but accepted them gracefully, understanding that helping them helped him too. On New Year's Eve, Janelle invited him to spend the evening with them. Nothing fancy, she warned. Just us, some snacks and watching the ball drop on TV. Lydia usually falls asleep before midnight anyway. Nathan arrived with sparkling cider and a cheese platter from a fancy downtown shop. Lydia's eyes went wide at the spread. Is this what rich people eat at parties? She asked innocently. Lydia, Janelle warned. But Nathan just laughed. Sometimes. But honestly, this tastes better because I'm sharing it with you. As midnight approached, Lydia did indeed fall asleep on the couch between them. Nathan and Janelle sat in comfortable silence, watching the countdown on TV. This is the first New Year's Eve I haven't dreaded in 3 years, Nathan admitted quietly. What changed? Janelle asked. I met a little girl in a park who taught me that kindness still exists. And her mother who showed me that life goes on even when you think it can't. Janelle turned to look at him. In the flickering light from the TV, her eyes were soft. You've changed too, you know. That first night you looked broken. Now you look like you're healing. I am healing. Thanks to you. We're helping each other, she corrected. You've done as much for us as we've done for you. The countdown reached 10 seconds. As the crowd on TV chanted, Nathan and Janelle looked at each other. When midnight struck, they leaned in and hugged, a gentle embrace that felt significant somehow. Like they were marking not just a new year but a new chapter. Happy New Year, Nathan, Janelle whispered. Happy New Year, Janelle. The next week brought more changes. Nathan started visiting almost every day, timing his arrivals for when Lydia got home from the community center. He helped her with homework, played games, and listened to her endless stories. Janelle worked her shifts knowing her daughter wasn't alone, that someone trustworthy was looking after her. One afternoon, while Lydia was in her room playing, Janelle sat down beside Nathan on the couch. Can I ask you something? Anything. Why are you really here? Not that I'm complaining, but I need to understand. You're a busy man. You run a huge company. Yet you're spending hours in a tiny apartment with a single mom and her kid. Why? Nathan considered his answer carefully. Because here I'm not CEO Nathan Pierce. I'm just Nathan. The man who plays board games and helps with homework and drinks coffee at a kitchen table. Here I matter because of who I am, not what I have. Do you have any idea how rare that is? But surely you have friends, family, people who care about you beyond your money? I thought I did. But after Elizabeth died, most of them disappeared. They didn't know how to handle my grief. Or they wanted me to move on faster than I could. Or they only came around when they wanted something. He met her eyes. You and Lydia don't want anything from me except my company. That's priceless. Janelle reached out and took his hand. You're right. We don't want anything from you except your friendship. And you have that, Nathan. You'll always have that. Her hand in his felt right. Natural. Like they'd been holding hands for years instead of weeks. Nathan found himself wondering what it would be like to kiss her. To hold her close. To build something more than friendship. But it was too soon. They both had scars that needed more time to heal. So instead, he just squeezed her hand and said, thank you. For everything. Later that week, Nathan discovered Janelle had a stack of medical bills on her kitchen counter. Bills from Lydia's asthma treatments from months ago. He didn't say anything, but he made note of it. He wanted to help, but he knew he had to be careful. Janelle had pride and he respected that. Nathan, Janelle said one evening after Lydia was in bed. I need to talk to you about something. His heart sank. Was she going to ask him to stop visiting? Had he overstepped somehow? Okay, he said carefully. Lydia's getting very attached to you. She talks about you constantly. At school, at home, everywhere. I'm not saying that's bad, but I need to know what your intentions are. Are you going to be in our lives long term, or is this just a temporary thing until you feel better? Nathan hadn't expected this question, but he knew the answer immediately. Long term. Janelle, I know we've only known each other a few weeks, but you and Lydia have become important to me. I'm not going anywhere. Relief flooded her face. Good. Because she's already half in love with you, and if you disappeared, it would break her heart. I won't disappear, Nathan promised. You're stuck with me now. Janelle smiled. I think I can live with that. As Nathan drove home that night to his empty penthouse, he realized something profound. He didn't want to go back to that empty space. He wanted to turn around, go back to the tiny apartment, and fall asleep on that lumpy couch surrounded by people who cared about him. But he couldn't. Not yet. He and Janelle were building something, but they needed time. Time to heal, time to trust, time to figure out what this thing between them was becoming. So he went home and climbed into his expensive bed in his expensive apartment and stared at the ceiling, counting the hours until he could see them again. But this time the loneliness felt different. Because now he knew it was temporary. He had somewhere to go. People waiting for him. A little girl who called him Mr. Nathan and a woman who made him feel like maybe, just maybe, he could love again. And that knowledge, that hope, made all the difference. The text from Janelle came at 10 in the morning, while Nathan was in a board meeting. Call me when you can. It's important. Nathan excused himself immediately, ignoring the surprised looks from his executives. Outside the conference room, he dialed her number with shaking hands. Janelle? What's wrong? Is Lydia okay? Lydia's fine. Physically anyway. But Nathan, we need to talk. Can you come over tonight? I'll be there in 20 minutes. Nathan, you're at work. Tonight is fine. Nothing is more important than you and Lydia. I'll be there soon. He was at their door in 15 minutes. Janelle let him in, her face troubled. Lydia was at school, so they were alone. What happened? Nathan asked immediately. Janelle handed him her phone. On the screen was a news article. The headline read, Billionaire CEO Nathan Pierce spotted spending time with local nurse and her daughter. Below it were photos. Nathan leaving their apartment building. Nathan and Lydia walking hand in hand. Nathan and Janelle talking on their building's front steps. The article speculated about his mysterious new friends and questioned whether he was dating Janelle. Nathan felt sick. Janelle, I'm so sorry. I never meant to bring this kind of attention to you. It gets worse, she said quietly. Lydia's school called. Some parents saw the article. They're asking questions, making comments. One mother implied I was using my daughter to get close to a rich man. Nathan's hands clenched into fists. That's ridiculous. You didn't even know who I was when you invited me to dinner. I know that. You know that. But people talk, Nathan. And now Lydia is caught in the middle. She came home crying yesterday because some kids at school were teasing her, saying her mom was a gold digger. Where is she now? At my mother's house. I didn't want her to hear this conversation. Nathan paced the small living room. Tell me what you need. Do you want me to release a statement? Hold a press conference? I'll do whatever it takes to protect you and Lydia. Janelle was quiet for a long moment. I need to understand something first. Why didn't you tell me who you really were? From the beginning, I mean. Because I didn't want this. Nathan gestured at the phone. I didn't want my money and my position to change how you saw me. For the first time in years, someone looked at me and just saw Nathan. A man. Not a bank account, not a business opportunity. Just me. But Nathan, you had to know this would come out eventually. I hoped we'd have more time. I wanted to build something real before the world got involved. I wanted you to know me, really know me, before you had to deal with all the complications that come with my life. Janelle sat down on the couch, looking tired. I understand that. I do. But now my daughter is being bullied because of her association with you. My neighbors are gossiping. My coworkers are asking questions. This is exactly the kind of drama I've tried to keep out of our lives. Nathan's heart sank. Are you asking me to leave? To stay away? I don't know what I'm asking, Janelle admitted. I care about you, Nathan. These past few weeks have been wonderful. But I need to put Lydia first. Always. And right now, your presence in her life is causing her pain. Then let me fix it. Please. Let me make this right. How? How do you fix people's perceptions? How do you stop gossip and speculation? By telling the truth, Nathan said firmly. By being honest about who we are and what we mean to each other. Janelle, I know we've only known each other a few weeks, but you and Lydia have become the most important people in my life. If the world needs to know that, fine. Let them know. I'm not ashamed of our friendship. But that's just it, Nathan. Is it friendship? Because that article implied something more. And if I'm honest, I've been feeling something more too. But I don't know if that's real or if I'm just grateful for your help. And I don't know if you actually care about me or if I'm just filling the hole your wife left. Nathan crossed the room and knelt in front of her, taking her hands. Look at me, Janelle. What I feel for you has nothing to do with Elizabeth and everything to do with who you are. You're strong, compassionate, funny, and real. You challenge me. You see me. You've brought light back into my life when I thought there was only darkness. That's not gratitude. That's not using you to fill a void. That's genuine affection. Janelle's eyes filled with tears. I'm scared, Nathan. Scared of getting hurt. Scared of my daughter getting hurt. Scared that your world is too big and complicated for us. My world is whatever I make it, Nathan said. And I want to make it one where you and Lydia are in it. Not on the periphery, not as charity cases or temporary distractions. As real, permanent parts of my life. But only if you want that too. Only if you're willing to take a chance on us. What if it doesn't work? What if we try this and it falls apart? Lydia is already attached to you. If you leave, it will destroy her. Then I won't leave. Janelle, I'm 42 years old. I've built a billion-dollar company from nothing. I've negotiated with world leaders and closed impossible deals. I know commitment when I'm ready for it. And I'm ready for this. For you. For Lydia. For whatever we can build together. A tear slipped down Janelle's cheek. This is crazy. We barely know each other. Sometimes you just know, Nathan said softly. Don't you feel it? This connection between us? Is real, Janelle. I know it is. I do feel it, she whispered. It terrifies me, but I feel it. Then let's be terrified together. Let's face whatever comes as a team. You, me, and Lydia. Janelle pulled one hand free and wiped her eyes. What about the press? The gossip? The attention? We face it head on. I'll release a statement explaining that we're friends who are exploring something more. That your daughter is a wonderful little girl who deserves respect and privacy. That anyone who has a problem with our relationship can take it up with me directly. That sounds like a declaration of war. Nathan smiled grimly. Maybe it is. But I'm not going to let anyone hurt you or Lydia. Ever. Janelle studied his face for a long moment. You really mean that, don't you? You'd actually go to war for us. Without hesitation. You saved my life, Janelle. Now let me protect yours. We saved each other, she corrected. And yes, Nathan. Let's do this. Let's face it together. Nathan pulled her into his arms, holding her close. She fit perfectly against him, her head tucked under his chin. He could feel her heart beating, matching the rhythm of his own. Thank you, he murmured into her hair. Thank you for trusting me. Don't make me regret it, she said, but there was no real warning in her voice. Just a gentle reminder that she was putting her faith in him. Never, Nathan promised. They sat like that for a long time, just holding each other. Outside, the world was spinning with gossip and speculation. But inside this small apartment, everything felt right. Finally, Janelle pulled back. I should call my mother, tell her to bring Lydia home. She'll want to see you. How do we explain all this to her? The truth simplified. That some people were being unkind, but we're handling it. That you're still our friend and always will be. That the people who matter don't care what newspapers say. Nathan nodded. And maybe I should spend less time here for a while? Until things calm down? Absolutely not, Janelle said firmly. That would teach Lydia that we run from problems. No, you keep coming over just like before. Let people see that we're not ashamed. Let them gossip. Eventually they'll get bored and move on to something else. You're very brave, you know that? I'm a single mother raising a child alone. I have to be brave. She smiled. But having you by my side makes it easier. When Lydia arrived home, she ran straight to Nathan and hugged him tightly. The mean kids at school said you were going to leave because their parents said so. But I told them they were wrong. I told them you promised you wouldn't leave. Right, Mr. Nathan? You promised. Nathan picked her up, holding her close. I promised, sweetheart. And I keep my promises. I'm not going anywhere. Even if people are mean? Even then. Because mean people don't get to decide who I care about. I decide that. And I've decided that you and your mama are very important to me. Lydia hugged him tighter. You're important to us too. That evening, Nathan stayed for dinner as planned. They ate together, played games, and acted like nothing had changed. Because in the ways that mattered, nothing had. They were still just three people enjoying each other's company. But later, after Lydia was in bed, Nathan and Janelle sat together on the couch and talked seriously about the future. My lawyer will draft a statement tomorrow, Nathan said. I want your approval on it before it goes out. Thank you for including me in that decision. It's your life too. You get a say in how we handle this. He paused. Janelle, I need to be honest about something else. The car repair, the groceries, all of it. I've been helping financially because I want to, but I need you to be comfortable with that. If it bothers you, I'll stop. Your feelings matter more than my desire to help. Janelle thought about it. It bothered me at first. Made me feel like a charity case. But then I realized something. You're not helping because you pity us. You're helping because you care. And that makes all the difference. I do care. So much. Then keep helping. But Nathan, I need you to understand something too. I'm not with you for your money. I need you to really believe that. I do believe it. You invited me into your home when you thought I was just a broken man on a park bench. That's not someone looking for a meal ticket. That's someone with a good heart. Janelle leaned against his shoulder. We're really doing this, aren't we? Taking on the world together. If you're still willing. I'm willing. Scared but willing. Nathan kissed the top of her head gently. It was the first time he'd kissed her, even in such an innocent way. She didn't pull away. Instead, she sighed and relaxed more fully against him. Whatever comes next, Nathan said quietly, we face it together. All three of us. All three of us, Janelle agreed. And sitting there, holding the woman who'd shown him how to live again, Nathan knew he'd made the right choice. This woman, this beautiful, strong, complicated woman, was worth fighting for. And her daughter, that bright, kind, wonderful little girl, deserved to be protected at all costs. Let the world gossip. Let them speculate. Nathan Pierce had found something more valuable than any business deal or stock portfolio. He'd found love. And he wasn't going to let it go without a fight. The statement Nathan's team released was simple and direct. It confirmed that he had befriended Janelle Harris and her daughter after a chance meeting on Christmas Eve. It emphasized that both Janelle and Lydia were private citizens who deserved respect. It ended with a firm request that the media leave them alone. The response was mixed. Some outlets respected the request. Others doubled down, digging into Janelle's background and finding exactly nothing scandalous. She was exactly what she appeared to be, a hard-working nurse, devoted mother, and good person. Eventually, as Janelle had predicted, the story died down. There were more interesting scandals to chase. But the damage to Lydia's social life lingered. She came home crying twice more that week, talking about kids who whispered about her or parents who gave Janelle cold looks at pickup time. Nathan was there for both of them, steady and supportive. He helped Lydia with her homework, building her confidence back up. He talked with Janelle late into the night, listening to her fears and frustrations. And gradually things improved. A month after the article broke, Janelle received an envelope in the mail. Inside were the medical bills Nathan had seen on her counter, all stamped paid in full. She called him immediately. "Nathan, what did you do?" "I helped," he said simply. "You were stressed about those bills. Now you're not. Please don't be angry." "I'm not angry. I don't even know what I am." "Nathan, that was thousands of dollars. It was pocket change compared to what your friendship means to me. Janelle, I know you're proud. I respect that. But Lydia needed those treatments, and you shouldn't have to choose between her health and your financial stability. Let me help. Please." There was a long silence. Then quietly, "Thank you. You have no idea what this means. I've been losing sleep over those bills." "I know. That's why I paid them. Now you can sleep." "You're impossible, you know that? Is that a complaint?" "No," Janelle said, and he could hear the smile in her voice. "It's gratitude. Thank you, Nathan. For everything." The next weekend, Nathan showed up at their apartment with a surprise. "I have something to show you both. Can you come with me?" "What is it?" Lydia asked, bouncing with excitement. "You'll see." He drove them to a music store downtown, one of the fancy ones with rows of gleaming instruments. Lydia's eyes went wide. "Why are we here?" Janelle asked. "Because Lydia mentioned she wanted to learn piano and I happen to know how to play. So I thought maybe we could find her an instrument." "Nathan, pianos cost thousands of dollars. Good ones do, yes. But there are also quality keyboards that would work perfectly for learning. And before you argue, consider this. Teaching Lydia piano would make me happy. It would give us something to do together. And it would give her a skill she can keep forever. So really, you'd be doing me a favor by letting me do this." Janelle opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. She looked at Lydia's hopeful face, then back at Nathan. "Fine. But we're looking at the budget options." They left with a good quality keyboard, a beginner's book, and a stand. Lydia couldn't stop smiling the entire drive home. That evening, Nathan gave Lydia her first piano lesson. He showed her where middle C was, taught her how to position her hands, and played her a simple melody. "Now you try," he encouraged. Lydia's first attempt was clumsy, but she was determined. Nathan patiently guided her through the basics, his voice calm and encouraging. Janelle watched from the kitchen, her heart full. After Lydia was in bed, Janelle pulled Nathan aside. "That was beautiful. Watching you with her, You're good with kids. She makes it easy. She's smart and eager to learn." "Nathan, can I ask you something personal?" "Always." "Did you and your wife ever want children?" Nathan was quiet for a moment. "We did. We tried for years, actually. It never happened. Elizabeth had some medical issues that made it difficult. We were looking into adoption when she got sick." "I'm sorry. That must have been hard. It was one of my biggest regrets. Not having children with her. Not getting to see what kind of mother she would have been." He met Janelle's eyes. "Being around Lydia has helped heal that old wound. She's special, Janelle. You've raised an incredible daughter." "Thank you. Her father would be proud of her." "I'm sure he would be. And I think he'd be proud of you too. You're doing an amazing job." Janelle moved closer, standing just inches from him. "Nathan, these past few weeks, spending so much time together, I've realized something." "What's that?" "I'm falling for you. Actually falling, not just grateful or confused. When I wake up, you're my first thought. When something good happens, I want to tell you. When Lydia laughs, I wish you were there to hear it. This is real for me. I need to know if it's real for you too." Nathan reached up and cupped her face gently. It's real, Janelle. More real than anything I've felt in years. I'm falling for you too. Have been since that first night when you invited a stranger into your home. So what do we do about it? We take our time. We keep building what we're building. We make sure Lydia is comfortable with this. And when the moment is right, we figure out what comes next together. Janelle leaned into his touch. That sounds perfect. They didn't kiss that night, though Nathan desperately wanted to. But they held each other for a long time, and that felt just as intimate. Over the next few weeks, Nathan became a fixture in their lives. He came over 4 or 5 times a week, helping with dinner, teaching Lydia piano, and spending quiet evenings with Janelle. They talked about everything, their pasts, their hopes, their fears, their dreams. Nathan learned that Janelle wanted to go back to school eventually, get her master's degree in nursing. He immediately offered to pay for it, but she gently refused. When I'm ready, I'll do it myself, she said. But thank you for offering. The offer stands. Whenever you're ready. He also learned that she loved old movies, terrible reality TV, and jazz music. That she was terrified of spiders but would catch them and release them outside because she didn't believe in killing anything unnecessarily. That she cried at phone commercials but stayed strong through the toughest shifts at the hospital. She learned that Nathan secretly loved comic books and had an entire collection in storage. That he played piano beautifully but hadn't touched one since his wife died until Lydia asked him to teach her. That he was generous to a fault but terrible at accepting help himself. You're a hypocrite, you know, she teased one night. You want everyone to accept your help, but you won't let anyone help you. What do I need help with? I have everything I need. Do you though? Nathan, when was the last time you saw your family? Your friends? When was the last time you did something just for fun, not for work? He couldn't answer. She had a point. You need people, Janelle pressed. Not just me and Lydia. You need to rebuild your support system. Call your sister. Reach out to old friends. Go to therapy maybe to work through your grief properly. I don't need therapy. I'm fine now. Are you? Or are you just replacing one obsession with another? You went from drowning in work to spending all your time here. That's not healthy balance, Nathan. That's avoidance. He bristled at first, defensive. But then he really thought about what she was saying. She was right. He had been avoiding. Avoiding his empty apartment, avoiding his grief, avoiding the work of actually healing. I'll think about it, he said finally. That's all I ask. True to his word, Nathan called his sister that week. They hadn't spoken in over a year, the relationship strained by his withdrawal after Elizabeth's death. Sarah, he said when she answered. It's Nathan. I know it's been a long time, but I was hoping we could talk. The conversation was awkward at first, full of long pauses and careful words. But gradually they found their rhythm again. Sarah was cautious but willing to try rebuilding their relationship. I want you to meet someone, Nathan said toward the end of the call. 2 someones actually. They're important to me. A woman? Sarah's voice perked up with interest. Yes. And her daughter. It's new but it's real. I think you'd like them. Then I'd love to meet them. Nathan, I'm glad you called. I've missed you. I've missed you too. A week later, Nathan invited Janelle and Lydia to lunch with Sarah. The meeting went better than he'd hoped. Sarah was warm and welcoming, immediately putting Lydia at ease by asking about her piano lessons. She and Janelle bonded over nursing stories, Sarah being a pediatrician. As they were leaving, Sarah pulled Nathan aside. She's wonderful. They both are. Hold on to them. I plan to. Good. Because I haven't seen you smile like this in years. Whatever they're doing for you, it's working. They make me want to be better. To do better. Then they're exactly what you need. That night, back at Janelle's apartment, Nathan felt lighter than he had in years. He was rebuilding connections. Facing his grief. Moving forward instead of just existing. Thank you, he told Janelle as they sat together after Lydia was asleep. For what? For pushing me. For not letting me hide. For caring enough to challenge me. That's what people who love each other do, Janelle said. Then she froze. I mean people who care about each other. I didn't mean. Nathan silenced her with a gentle kiss. It was soft and brief, barely more than a brush of lips. But it was their first real kiss and it felt like a promise. I love you too, he whispered. I didn't want to say it first and scare you. But I love you, Janelle. You and Lydia both. Tears filled her eyes. You mean that? With everything in me. You've given me a reason to live again. How could I not love you? Janelle kissed him again, deeper this time. When they finally pulled apart, they were both smiling. So what now? She asked. Now we keep building. One day at a time. Until we're ready for whatever comes next. I like that plan. They sat together, holding each other, dreaming about the future. Neither knew exactly where this road would lead, but they knew they wanted to travel it together. And that was enough. Spring arrived with unexpected warmth, bringing new growth to the city parks and a sense of fresh starts. Nathan suggested a picnic one Saturday and Janelle agreed immediately. They packed sandwiches, fruit and Lydia's favorite juice boxes, then headed to the same park where they'd first met. "This is where I first saw you," Lydia said, running ahead to the bench where Nathan had been sitting that Christmas Eve. "You were so sad, Mr. Nathan. But look at you now. You're happy." "I am happy," Nathan agreed, ruffling her hair. "Thanks to you and your mama." They spread a blanket on the grass and ate their picnic lunch. Other families were around, enjoying the sunny weather. Nathan noticed a few people recognizing him, but they kept their distance, respecting his privacy. The scandal had truly died down. "I've been thinking," Nathan said as they finished eating. "My company has a gala coming up next month. It's a charity event, raising money for children's hospitals. Janelle, would you and Lydia like to come with me?" Janelle looked uncertain. "Nathan, that's your world. The business world. I wouldn't fit in there." "You'd fit perfectly. You're a pediatric nurse. You understand what the charity does better than anyone there. And I want you by my side. Both of you. I don't have anything fancy to wear to a gala. Then let me take you shopping. Please, Janelle. I know it's outside your comfort zone, but I promise you'll be safe. I'll be with you the whole time." Lydia bounced with excitement. "Mama, please. I've never been to a fancy party before." Janelle looked at her daughter's hopeful face, then at Nathan's earnest expression. "All right. But if I feel uncomfortable, we leave. Deal?" "Deal." The shopping trip was an adventure. Nathan took them to an upscale boutique where Janelle tried on dress after dress. She felt awkward at first, but the shop attendant was kind and helpful, finding styles that made her feel beautiful rather than uncomfortable. "What about this one?" Janelle emerged from the dressing room in a deep blue gown that hugged her curves perfectly. Nathan's breath caught. "You look stunning." Janelle blushed, turning to see herself in the mirror. "It's beautiful, but the price tag is not your concern," Nathan finished gently. "Please let me do this. You deserve to feel beautiful." "I do feel beautiful," she admitted, smoothing the fabric. "Okay. This one." Lydia got a pretty maroon dress with a full skirt that made her twirl with delight. She looked like a princess and Nathan told her so. "Wait until Grammy sees me," Lydia said. "She's going to cry happy tears." "Speaking of your grandmother," Janelle said, "maybe she should meet Nathan officially? She's heard all about you, but I think it's time for a proper introduction." Nathan felt nervous about meeting Janelle's mother, but he needn't have worried. Diane Harris was a warm, welcoming woman in her 60s who greeted him with a tight hug. "So you're the man who's got my daughter smiling again," she said, studying him carefully. Come in. Let's talk." Over tea in her cozy living room, Diane asked Nathan direct questions about his intentions, his past, and his feelings for her daughter. He answered honestly, appreciating her protectiveness. "I love your daughter, Mrs. Harris. And I love Lydia. I know we haven't known each other long, but what I feel is real. I want to build a life with them if they'll have me." Diane nodded slowly. Janelle's been through a lot. Losing Thomas nearly broke her. She's strong, but she's also fragile in ways most people don't see. If you hurt her, you answer to me. Understand? I understand. And I promise I will never intentionally hurt either of them. Good. Diane's stern expression softened into a smile. "Now that we have that settled, tell me about this gala." "My granddaughter is very excited." The gala was 3 weeks away, but Nathan found himself looking forward to it more than any business event he'd attended in years. Not because of the networking or the deals, but because he'd have Janelle on his arm. Because he'd get to show the world that he'd found something worth more than all his wealth. Meanwhile, Nathan continued his piano lessons with Lydia. She was improving rapidly, her small fingers learning to dance across the keys. He taught her simple songs at first, then gradually introduced more complex pieces. "You're a natural," he told her one afternoon as she successfully played through a full song without mistakes. "Really? You're not just saying that. Really? You have talent, Lydia. If you keep practicing, you could be very good. Will you keep teaching me? Even when I'm all grown up?" Nathan's heart squeezed. "For as long as you want me to." "Forever, then. I want you to teach me forever." Nathan hugged her close, this little girl who'd saved him without even knowing it. Forever sounds perfect. That evening, after Lydia was asleep, Nathan and Janelle sat on the couch, talking about the future. I've been thinking about something, Nathan said carefully. My apartment downtown is too big for one person. It's cold and empty and doesn't feel like home. But this apartment is getting cramped for 3 people spending so much time together. Nathan, where are you going with this? I want us to look at houses together. Not for me, for us. All 3 of us. A place with a yard for Lydia, a proper room for her piano, space for everyone. Janelle pulled back to look at him. That's a huge step. I know. And if you're not ready, we can wait. But Janelle, I'm 42 years old. I've lost enough time to grief. I don't want to waste any more. I want to build a life with you. I want to wake up next to you every morning and fall asleep beside you every night. I want to help raise Lydia, be there for her school events and piano recitals and all the little moments that make up a childhood. Are you asking me to move in with you? Eventually, yes. But first, I'm asking if you'll look at houses with me. See what's out there. Think about what a future together might look like in practical terms. Janelle was quiet for a long moment. My lease is up in 3 months. I know. Nathan had done his research. That's awfully convenient timing. Maybe it's fate. Janelle smiled despite her nervousness. You know what Lydia would say if she heard us talking about this? What? She'd say it's about time. She asks me almost every night when you're going to be her real daddy. Nathan's breath caught. What do you tell her? That these things take time. That we have to be sure. But Nathan, I am sure. I've been sure for weeks now. I love you. And more than that, I trust you. With my heart, with my daughter, with our future. Then say yes. Say yes to looking at houses. Say yes to building something together. Say yes to me. Janelle kissed him softly. Yes. To all of it. Yes. They spent the next few weeks looking at houses in family-friendly neighborhoods. Nathan didn't care about the price. He cared about finding a place that felt right, that would be a real home for all of them. Lydia came along on the house tours, giving her opinion on each property. Too small. Too dark. No good yard. Wrong feel. Until they found a beautiful house in a quiet neighborhood with excellent schools. It had 4 bedrooms, a big backyard, a room perfect for a piano, and a warm, welcoming feel. The moment they walked in, Lydia ran from room to room, squealing with delight. This is it, Mama. This is our house. Janelle walked through slowly, taking it all in. The bright kitchen. The cozy living room. The master bedroom with attached bath. Nathan, this is too much. It's perfect. Look at how happy Lydia is. This is where we should be. But the cost is mine to worry about. Janelle, please. Let me do this. Let me give you and Lydia the home you deserve. Janelle looked around again, imagining their life here. Lydia playing in the yard. Family dinners in that kitchen. Lazy Sundays in the living room. Nathan coming home every evening to them. Okay, she whispered. Yes, this is our house. Nathan made an offer that same day. It was accepted immediately. That evening, as they celebrated with pizza and ice cream, Lydia asked the question they'd both been expecting. So if we all live in the new house together, does that mean Mr. Nathan is going to be my daddy? Janelle and Nathan exchanged glances. They talked about this, about how to approach the subject with Lydia. Would you like that? Nathan asked gently. For me to be your daddy? Yes, Lydia said immediately. I already think of you that way. You teach me stuff and help with homework and play with me and make Mama smile. That's what daddies do. You're right, Nathan said. That is what daddies do. And I would be honored to be your daddy if your mama agrees. Mama? Lydia turned pleading eyes to Janelle. I agree, baby. Nathan would be a wonderful father to you. Lydia launched herself at Nathan, hugging him tightly. Best day ever. Over her head, Nathan and Janelle smiled at each other. They were really doing this. Building a family. Creating something new from the ashes of their old lives. Later, after Lydia was in bed, Nathan pulled out a small box. I know we've talked about moving in together, about me being Lydia's dad. But there's one more thing I want to ask. He opened the box to reveal a beautiful but not ostentatious diamond ring. Janelle Harris, I fell in love with you the moment you invited a broken stranger into your home. You showed me that life was still worth living, that love could bloom even after loss. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down Janelle's face. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Nathan slipped the ring on her finger, then kissed her deeply. When they pulled apart, both were crying happy tears. I can't believe this is real, Janelle said. 6 months ago, I was struggling to make ends meet, raising my daughter alone, thinking I'd never find love again. Now I'm engaged to an amazing man, planning to move into a beautiful house, and watching my daughter thrive. 6 months ago, I was sitting on a park bench ready to give up, Nathan replied. Now I have a fiancé I adore, a daughter I love, and a future that actually means something. We saved each other, Janelle. We did. And we're going to keep saving each other, every single day. They told Lydia about the engagement the next morning. Her shriek of joy woke up half the building. You're going to be married? Really truly married? And we'll all live together forever? Forever, Nathan confirmed. I need to tell everyone, Lydia declared. Grammy and my friends and my teacher and everyone in the whole world. They laughed, letting her excitement wash over them. This was what family felt like. Joy and love and belonging. The gala was the following week. Nathan, Janelle, and Lydia arrived together, a family in every way that mattered. People stared, whispered, speculated. But Nathan didn't care. He held Janelle's hand proudly, introduced Lydia to everyone they met, and made it clear that these two were his world now. During his speech, Nathan spoke about the importance of children's hospitals, about how they'd saved his fiancée's daughter when she had a health scare. He talked about the incredible nurses who worked tirelessly to heal sick kids. And he made a personal donation of $5 million to the charity, done in Lydia's name. The room erupted in applause. Janelle was crying. Lydia was beaming. And Nathan knew he'd finally found where he belonged. Not in boardrooms or penthouses. Not in business deals or stock portfolios. But here, with this woman and this child, building a life based on love instead of money. And that, he realized, was worth more than any fortune he could ever accumulate. The weeks following the gala passed in a blur of wedding planning, house preparation, and general happiness. Nathan had never felt more complete. Every morning he woke up grateful. Every evening he counted his blessings. But there was one thing that kept nagging at him. One conversation he needed to have with Janelle before they got married. About Elizabeth. They talked about his late wife, of course. Janelle knew the basic story. Cancer, a 3-year battle, her death, his grief. But Nathan had held back the depths of his pain, afraid that sharing it fully would burden Janelle. Now, as they sat on the back porch of their new house, they'd moved in the week before, Nathan knew it was time to be completely honest. Janelle, can we talk about something? She looked up from the wedding invitation samples she'd been reviewing. Of course. What's on your mind? Elizabeth. I need to tell you about her. Really tell you, not just the sanitized version. Janelle set aside the invitations and gave him her full attention. I'm listening. Nathan took a deep breath. I met Elizabeth in college. She was studying art history, I was in business school. We were complete opposites, but somehow we just fit. She was creative where I was practical. She was spontaneous where I was careful. She balanced me. She sounds wonderful. She was. We got married young, built a life together. When I started my company, she was my biggest supporter. She believed in me when no one else did. And when the company took off, she kept me grounded. Made sure I didn't lose myself in the success. Nathan paused, gathering his thoughts. When she got sick, I threw everything at it. The best doctors, experimental treatments, anything that might help. But nothing worked. The cancer was aggressive. We had 3 years from diagnosis to death, and I watched her fade a little more each day. Janelle reached for his hand, squeezing gently. The last 6 months were the hardest. She was in so much pain, but she never complained. She worried about me instead. Made me promise I'd move on, find happiness again. I promised, but I didn't believe it was possible. And then you met us, Janelle said softly. And then I met you, Nathan agreed. But here's what I need you to know. Loving you doesn't diminish what I felt for Elizabeth. She'll always be part of me. Always have a piece of my heart. I'm not replacing her with you. I'm making room for you alongside her. I know that, Nathan. I've never felt like I was competing with her memory. But you need to know that sometimes I'll have hard days. Anniversaries, holidays, random moments when something reminds me of her. And on those days I might be sad. That doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means I'm carrying 2 loves in my heart. Janelle moved closer, taking both his hands. Nathan, I understand that better than you might think. I still love Thomas. I still think about him. I still have moments when grief hits me out of nowhere. That doesn't change how much I love you. You're not bothered by it? Why would I be? The fact that you loved Elizabeth so deeply tells me what kind of man you are. The fact that her death devastated you shows the depth of your capacity for love. I'm not threatened by your past, Nathan. I'm grateful for it because it made you who you are today. Nathan felt tears building. I was so afraid to tell you all this. Afraid you'd think I wasn't really over her, or that I was using you to fill a void. Are you using me to fill a void? No. What I feel for you is completely its own thing. You're not a replacement or a substitute. You're Janelle. The woman who invited a stranger to dinner. The woman who challenges me to be better. The woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. Then that's all I need to know. Janelle cupped his face gently. We're both coming into this marriage with scars and history. That doesn't make us broken. It makes us human. We'll carry our past together and we'll build our future together. Okay. Okay. Nathan pulled her close, holding her tight. I love you so much. I love you too. All of you, including the parts that still hurt. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over their new backyard. Inside, they could hear Lydia practicing piano, the notes floating through the open windows. I think Elizabeth would have liked you, Nathan said quietly. She always wanted me to find someone strong enough to handle me. Someone who wouldn't let me hide or run away. That's you. I wish I could have met her. Me too. She would have loved Lydia. Elizabeth always wanted children. She would have been an amazing mother. She can still be part of Lydia's life, Janelle said thoughtfully. Through the stories you tell, the lessons you share. Children can have more than two parents' worth of love. There's room in Lydia's heart for her dad, for you, and for the woman who shaped the man you became. Nathan was crying now, unable to hold back the tears. How did I get so lucky to find you? A little girl decided to talk to a stranger on a park bench. That's how. Best decision she ever made. They went inside together, joining Lydia at the piano. Nathan sat beside her, helping her through a tricky section of her newest song. Janelle watched from the doorway, her heart full. This was family. Not perfect, not without scars, but real and loving and good. Later that night, after Lydia was asleep, Nathan and Janelle lay in bed, talking about the wedding plans. I want to do something at the ceremony, Nathan said. To honor both Elizabeth and Thomas. Maybe a moment of silence or lighting candles in their memory. I want to acknowledge that they're part of our story even though they're gone. I think that's beautiful, Janelle agreed. They brought us to this point in a way. Thomas taught me about love. Elizabeth taught you the same. And now we're taking those lessons and building something new. Do you think they'd be happy for us? Wherever they are. I think they'd be thrilled. They loved us enough to want us to be happy even without them. This is what they would have wanted. Nathan pulled Janelle closer, spooning behind her. Thank you for understanding. For not making me choose between my past and my future. You don't have to choose. You can have both. That's the beautiful thing about love, Nathan. It multiplies. It doesn't divide. You're very wise. I learned from the best. Partly from my mother, partly from loss, and partly from a very patient little girl who taught me that hearts can always make room for one more person. Lydia is special. She is. And she's lucky to have you as her father. You know that, right? You're exactly the dad she needs. I hope so. I'm trying my best. That's all anyone can do. Try their best and love with their whole heart. You're doing both. They fell asleep like that, wrapped in each other's arms, healing and whole. The next morning, Nathan made a decision. He called his assistant and asked her to gather some items from his storage unit. That afternoon, a box arrived at the house. What's this? Janelle asked as Nathan carried it to the living room. Memories, Nathan said, opening the box. Inside were photo albums, framed pictures, and personal items that had belonged to Elizabeth. I put these away after she died because looking at them hurt too much. But I think it's time to bring them back out. Not to dwell on the past, but to honor it. He pulled out a beautiful photo of Elizabeth in a silver frame. She was laughing, her eyes bright, full of life. I'd like to put this on the mantle if that's okay with you. And maybe some of the photos of Thomas too. Make this house a celebration of where we came from, not just where we're going. Janelle's eyes filled with tears. I think that's perfect. I have some photos of Thomas in storage too. I'll get them out. They spent the afternoon arranging photos on the mantle and walls. Elizabeth and Thomas weren't hidden or forgotten. They were part of the family story, acknowledged and honored. When Lydia came home from school, she studied the photos curiously. Who's that? She asked, pointing to Elizabeth's picture. That was my wife, Nathan explained. Her name was Elizabeth. She died before I met you, but she was very important to me. She's pretty? Do you think she would have liked me? She would have loved you. She always wanted a daughter. Good. Then I'll love her back even though I never met her. Lydia turned to the photo of Thomas. And that's my first daddy, right? The one who's in heaven. That's right, baby, Janelle confirmed. He looks nice. Mama says he was funny and kind. He was both those things, Janelle agreed. Lydia thought for a moment, her 6-year-old mind working through complex emotions. So I have a daddy in heaven and a daddy here on earth. That makes me pretty lucky. Yes, sweetheart. That makes you very lucky, Nathan said, pulling her into a hug. And you have a wife in heaven and mama here on earth. So you're lucky too. I am. Very lucky. See, Lydia said matter-of-factly. We're a lucky family. We have extra people in heaven watching over us. Out of the mouths of babes. Nathan and Janelle exchanged amazed looks over Lydia's head. This child, with her simple wisdom, had just perfectly captured what they'd been trying to understand. They weren't replacing anyone. They were expanding their capacity for love. Building a family that honored the past while embracing the future. That evening, Nathan got a call from Sarah. Hey brother. I wanted to check in. How are the wedding plans coming? Good. Really good actually. Sarah, I need to ask you something. Would you walk me down the aisle? I know that's traditionally not how it's done, but I'd like you there beside me. You're my family, and I want you to be part of this moment. Sarah was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was thick with emotion. I'd be honored. Nathan, I'm so proud of you. Of how far you've come. Of the life you're building. I couldn't have done it without you. You never gave up on me even when I gave up on myself. That's what family does. We show up even when it's hard. Speaking of family, I have another question. Would you be willing to be Lydia's godmother? Officially, I mean. Janelle and I want to make sure she has as much love and support around her as possible. Oh Nathan. Of course. I'd love that. They talked for another hour, making plans and sharing stories. When Nathan hung up, he felt more connected to his sister than he had in years. Everything okay? Janelle asked, looking up from her laptop where she'd been researching wedding venues. Everything's perfect. Sarah's going to walk me down the aisle and be Lydia's godmother. She's going to be so excited. She already loves your sister. The feeling is mutual. Nathan sat beside Janelle, looking at the venue options on her screen. What about this one? The garden with the gazebo? It's beautiful, but the price is not a concern. Janelle, this is our wedding. The one and only wedding we're ever going to have. Let's make it exactly what we want, money aside. Janelle bit her lip, then nodded. Okay, the garden it is. But I'm planning the rest of it myself. I don't want some fancy wedding planner taking over. Deal. Though I reserve the right to help with whatever you need. That goes without saying. We're a team now. Always, Nathan agreed, kissing her softly. As they continued planning, talking about flowers and music and guest lists, Nathan realized something profound. He was truly happy. Not just content, not just okay, but genuinely, deeply happy. The broken man from the park bench was gone, replaced by someone whole. Someone with purpose. Someone who understood that love didn't end with death, but could bloom again in unexpected places. And it was all thanks to a little girl who decided to offer her mom to a crying stranger. The wedding was set for late June, a perfect time for an outdoor ceremony in the garden venue they'd chosen. Janelle threw herself into the planning with enthusiasm, creating a celebration that reflected both their personalities. Simple but elegant. Meaningful but not ostentatious. Nathan handled the logistics, booking hotels for out-of-town guests, arranging transportation, managing the thousands of details Janelle didn't want to worry about. They worked together seamlessly, each playing to their strengths. One evening, as they addressed wedding invitations at the kitchen table, Lydia asked a question that stopped them both. When you get married, will I get a new last name too? Nathan and Janelle exchanged glances. They discussed this privately but hadn't yet talked to Lydia about it. Would you like a new last name? Nathan asked carefully. I like my name. It was my first daddy's name. But I also like yours, Mr. Nathan. Can I have both? Actually, Nathan said, I was thinking about something. After the wedding, I'd like to officially adopt you, Lydia. That means I'd legally be your father. And if you wanted, you could be Lydia Harris Pierce. That way you keep your first daddy's name and also have mine. Lydia's face lit up. Really? You'd adopt me? Like for real forever? For real forever. If that's what you want. Lydia thought about it for exactly 3 seconds before launching herself into Nathan's arms. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I want that so much. Over her head, Nathan met Janelle's eyes. She was crying happy tears, mouthing thank you to him. Then it's settled, Nathan said. After the wedding, we'll start the adoption process. You'll officially be my daughter, Lydia Harris Pierce. I need to make a new name sign for my door, Lydia declared, already planning. With my new long name. This is the best day ever. The adoption process started the following week. Nathan hired the best family lawyer in the state, wanting everything done properly and legally. Because Thomas had passed away and there were no other parental rights to consider, the lawyer said it should be straightforward. "This is a beautiful thing you're doing," the lawyer said during their first meeting. "Most of my cases are contentious. This is just pure love." "That's exactly what it is," Nathan agreed. Meanwhile, Janelle found a part-time program for her master's degree. Nathan had offered to pay, but she'd insisted on taking out student loans. "I need to do this myself," she explained. "Prove to myself that I can. But what you can do is help with Lydia when I'm at class. That's the support I need." "Done," Nathan said immediately. "I'll rearrange my schedule however you need." "You don't have to do that. You have a company to run. I have good executives who can handle things. My family comes first now. Always." Janelle kissed him gratefully. "I love you. I love you too." The weeks flew by. Before they knew it, it was June and their wedding day was approaching. Sarah flew in a week early to help with final preparations. She and Janelle had become close friends, bonding over their shared love for Nathan and Lydia. "I'm so glad he found you," Sarah told Janelle one afternoon while they were picking up the bridesmaid dresses. "After Elizabeth died, I thought I'd lost my brother. He was just a shell going through the motions. But you brought him back to life." "He did the same for me," Janelle replied. "I was so busy being strong for Lydia that I forgot how to just be. Nathan reminded me. You're perfect for each other. And Lydia is lucky to have you both. We're the lucky ones." The night before the wedding, Janelle's mother hosted a small dinner for close family. Nathan's sister was there, along with Janelle's mother, her aunt and uncle, and a few close friends. Lydia was the center of attention, showing off her flower girl dress to anyone who would look. "To family," Diane Harris said, raising her glass. "Both the family we're born with and the family we choose. Nathan, welcome to our family officially. You've already been part of it for months, but tomorrow it becomes legal." "Thank you," Nathan said, emotion thick in his voice. "Thank you all for accepting me, for welcoming me. This means everything." After dinner, as they were cleaning up, Sarah pulled Nathan aside. "I have something for you." She handed him a small box. It was Elizabeth's. Inside was Elizabeth's wedding ring, the simple gold band she'd worn for their entire marriage. "Sarah, I can't take this." "You're not taking it. I'm giving it to you. Elizabeth would want you to have it. She'd want you to be happy with someone new. And I think maybe you could give it to Lydia someday. When she's older. Tell her about the woman who loved her daddy first." Nathan's vision blurred with tears. "Thank you. This is perfect. She'd be so happy for you, Nathan." "I know she would. I hope so." Some journeys end in heartbreak, but others lead to unexpected joy. Nathan's path through grief brought him to love again. If this story is touching your heart, subscribe to see how this beautiful family's journey unfolds. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe in second chances at love? That night, Nathan couldn't sleep. Tomorrow he would marry Janelle. Tomorrow he would officially start the next chapter of his life. He thought about Elizabeth, wondering if she really would be happy for him. He decided she would. She'd always wanted his happiness above everything. "Thank you," he whispered into the darkness. "Thank you for teaching me how to love. I promise I'll take care of them." The wedding day dawned clear and perfect. The garden was in full bloom, flowers bursting with color everywhere Nathan looked. Chairs were set up in neat rows, facing a simple wooden arch wrapped in white roses and greenery. Nathan stood at the front with Sarah beside him, waiting. His hands shook slightly with nerves and anticipation. Then the music started. First came Lydia, adorable in her maroon flower girl dress, carefully scattering rose petals. She caught his eye and gave him a huge smile and a thumbs up. Then Janelle appeared at the top of the aisle, and Nathan forgot how to breathe. She wore a simple but elegant dress in cream rather than white, with delicate lace sleeves and a flowing skirt. Her natural hair was styled beautifully with small white flowers woven through. She looked radiant, glowing with happiness. Diane walked beside her, both women smiling through tears. As they reached the front, Diane kissed Janelle's cheek and placed her hand in Nathan's. "Take care of my girl," she whispered to him. "With my life," Nathan promised. The ceremony was beautiful and meaningful. They'd written their own vows, wanting to speak from the heart. "Janelle," Nathan began, his voice strong despite the emotion. 6 months ago I was broken. I'd lost my way, lost my hope, lost my will to keep going. Then a little girl told me I could borrow her mom and everything changed. You invited me into your home and your heart without hesitation. You showed me that life goes on, that love can bloom even after loss, that hope is always worth holding on to. You are my best friend, my partner, my love. Today I promise to honor you, support you, cherish you, and stand by your side through whatever comes. I promise to be the best father I can be to Lydia, to help carry your burdens and to celebrate your joys. I promise to choose you every single day for the rest of my life. Janelle was crying openly now. Nathan, when you sat down on that park bench, you looked like I felt after losing Thomas. Lost, alone, scared. But you also looked like someone worth saving. And in saving you, you saved me too. You reminded me that my heart could love again. That letting someone in didn't dishonor what I'd lost. You've been patient with my fears, gentle with my scars, and constant in your love. Today I promise to be your partner in all things. To challenge you when you need it and support you always. To help you remember that you're not alone anymore. I promise to love you not just in the easy moments but through the hard ones too. I choose you, Nathan Pierce. Today and always. There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. When the officiant asked if there were any objections, Lydia piped up. I object. You forgot the part where Nathan becomes my daddy too. Laughter rippled through the crowd. The officiant smiled. You're absolutely right. Before we continue, I understand there's another promise being made today. Nathan knelt down to Lydia's level. From his pocket, he pulled out a necklace with a heart-shaped locket. Inside were photos of Thomas and Elizabeth. Lydia Harris, I know I can never replace your first daddy. He'll always be important, always be loved, always be remembered. But I promise to be the best father I can be to you. To teach you, protect you, support you, and love you unconditionally for the rest of my life. Will you accept me as your second daddy? Yes, Lydia said, throwing her arms around his neck. Forever and ever. There was more laughter and applause. When Lydia pulled back, Nathan fastened the necklace around her neck. This way, he explained, you'll always carry both your fathers with you. The one in heaven and the one right here. The ceremony continued. They lit candles in memory of Thomas and Elizabeth, acknowledging the people who'd brought them to this moment. They exchanged rings. And finally they were pronounced husband and wife. The kiss was gentle but meaningful, a promise sealed with love. As they walked back down the aisle as a family, Lydia between them holding both their hands, Nathan felt complete. His journey from that dark park bench to this moment had been painful and difficult, but worth every step. The reception was joyful and perfect. There was dancing and laughter, good food and better company. Lydia danced with Nathan, standing on his feet as he twirled her around. Janelle danced with her mother, both crying happy tears. During the father-daughter dance, Nathan held Lydia close and whispered, "Thank you for talking to me that day in the park. You saved my life." "You saved mine too," Lydia replied with a child's wisdom. "You made my mama happy again. That's the best present ever." As the sun set and the party continued, Nathan stood with his arm around his wife, watching their daughter dance with her grandmother. This was his family now. This was his life. Imperfect, complicated, but filled with love. "Happy?" Janelle asked, leaning into him. "Happier than I ever thought I could be again." "Good. Because this is just the beginning. We have so much ahead of us." "I can't wait," Nathan said honestly. "Bring it on." And as the stars came out above their garden reception, Nathan Pierce knew that every moment of pain had been worth it. Because it had led him here, to this woman, to this child, to this beautiful, unexpected second chance at love. 1 year later, Christmas Eve arrived on a blanket of fresh snow. Nathan woke early, smiling at the warmth beside him. Janelle was still asleep, her face peaceful and beautiful in the soft morning light filtering through their bedroom windows. Their bedroom. In their house. In their life together. He slipped out of bed carefully, not wanting to wake her. She'd been working extra shifts at the hospital to save up for Christmas presents, despite his repeated insistence that they didn't need to worry about money. But Janelle had her pride and he loved her for it. Downstairs, the Christmas tree sparkled with lights. It was much bigger than the little tree in Janelle's old apartment, but decorated with the same mix of homemade and store-bought ornaments. The ones Lydia made in school hung in places of honor. Nathan made coffee and stood at the kitchen window, looking out at their snow-covered backyard. So much had changed in a year. The adoption had been finalized in September. Lydia was now legally his daughter, and the joy on her face when the judge made it official had been worth any amount of paperwork. Janelle was halfway through her master's program, juggling work, school, and family with the same grace she brought to everything. Nathan had adjusted his work schedule to be home more, delegating more responsibilities to his executive team. He'd learned that being present mattered more than being powerful. "You're up early." Nathan turned to find Janelle padding into the kitchen in her robe, her hair beautifully messy. Couldn't sleep. Too excited about today. She came into his arms, fitting perfectly. It's just Christmas. We've had plenty of those. But it's our first Christmas as a married family. In our house. With everything right in the world. When you put it that way, Janelle smiled, I'm excited too. They were making breakfast when Lydia burst into the kitchen. It's Christmas. Can we open presents now? Good morning to you too, Janelle laughed. Good morning, Mama. Good morning, Daddy. Merry Christmas. I love you both. Now can we please open presents? Someone's excited, Nathan said, ruffling her hair. It's Christmas, Lydia said, as if this explained everything. They ate breakfast together, Lydia bouncing in her seat with barely contained energy. Then finally it was time for presents. The pile under the tree was much larger this year, but still filled with thoughtful gifts rather than expensive ones. Lydia had made handmade presents for both of them. A drawing for Janelle showing their family, and a composition she'd written for Nathan to play on the piano. I wrote it myself, she said proudly. Mr. Chin, my music teacher, helped me, but I picked all the notes. Nathan was touched beyond words. This is the best gift I've ever received. Better than the tie I got you? Much better. They spent the morning in comfortable chaos. Wrapping paper everywhere. Lydia showing off her new books and art supplies. Janelle exclaiming over the beautiful necklace Nathan had gotten her. Music playing. Laughter filling the house. After lunch, Nathan suggested a walk. I want to show you both something. They bundled up and headed to the park where it all began. The same park where a broken man had sat on a bench 1 year ago, ready to give up. Why are we here? Lydia asked, holding both their hands as they walked. Because this is where our story started, Nathan explained. 1 year ago today, a brave little girl walked up to a sad stranger and offered to let him borrow her mom. I remember, Lydia said. You were crying. I was very sad. But then you talked to me and your mom invited me to dinner and everything changed. They reached the bench. Someone had brushed off the snow and they sat down together, Lydia in the middle. You saved my life that day, Nathan told Lydia seriously. Did you know that? Mama said. But you saved us too. You made Mama stop worrying about money all the time. You help me with homework. You make us laugh. That's pretty good saving. We saved each other, Janelle said, putting her arm around both of them. That's what families do. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the snow fall gently around them. Other families walked by, heading home after their own Christmas celebrations. You know what I'm grateful for? Nathan said finally. Second chances. The chance to love again. The chance to be a father. The chance to build a life that matters. I'm grateful for kindness, Janelle added. For the kindness of a little girl who didn't walk past someone in pain. For the kindness of a man who accepted help when he needed it. For all the small acts of kindness that built this beautiful life. I'm grateful for hot chocolate and piano lessons and my 2 best parents in the whole world, Lydia said simply. And for Christmas, I like Christmas. They laughed. Trust Lydia to keep things simple and honest. Should we head home? Janelle suggested. Grammy and Sarah are coming for dinner. Wait, Nathan said. I want to do something first. He pulled out his phone and took a photo of the 3 of them on the bench. Then he pulled up the photo from last Christmas, the one of them walking together after their first meeting. Look how far we've come, he said, showing them both photos. In the first photo they looked uncertain, still strangers navigating new territory. In the new photo they looked like what they were, a family. Comfortable, loving, complete. That's a good picture, Lydia declared. We look happy. That's because we are happy, Nathan said. As they walked home, Nathan thought about the journey that had brought them here. The grief and loss. The chance meeting. The slow building of trust and love. The challenges they'd overcome. The life they'd built together. At home they prepared for dinner. Sarah arrived first, bearing gifts and hugs. Diane came next with her famous sweet potato pie. They gathered around the table, this makeshift family bound not by blood but by choice and love. During dinner, Sarah made an announcement. I have some news. I've been seeing someone. It's early but it's good. I wanted you all to know. That's wonderful, Janelle said warmly. You deserve happiness too. You taught me something, Nathan, Sarah said. You showed me that it's never too late to open your heart again. That love can surprise you when you least expect it. Thank you for that. I learned it from the best, Nathan replied, looking at Janelle. After dinner they gathered in the living room. Nathan sat at the piano with Lydia on the bench beside him. He played the composition she'd written, her original piece. It was simple but beautiful, full of hope and joy. When he finished, everyone applauded. Lydia beamed with pride. "Play the song we practiced," she whispered to Nathan. Together, father and daughter played a duet, their hands moving in synchronization across the keys. It was a moment of pure connection, and Nathan felt his heart swell with love for this child who called him Daddy. Later, after their guests had left and Lydia was in bed, Nathan and Janelle stood in the doorway of her room, watching her sleep. "She's grown so much this year," Janelle whispered. "She has. She's thriving. Because of you. Because you gave her stability and love and a father's attention. Because of us," Nathan corrected. "We're a team, remember?" They moved to their own room, getting ready for bed. As they settled under the covers, Nathan pulled Janelle close. "Thank you," he said softly. "For what?" "For taking a chance on a broken stranger. For inviting me into your life. For loving me when I didn't think I deserved it. For giving me a family. For everything." "You did the same for us," Janelle reminded him. "We were struggling, alone, barely getting by. You gave us security and support and love. We're even, Nathan." "No," Nathan disagreed gently. "I'll never be even. You gave me more than I could ever repay. You gave me a reason to live." Janelle kissed him softly. "Then we're both lucky. We found each other when we needed it most." "What do you think next year will bring?" Nathan asked. "Who knows? More adventures. More challenges. More love. Whatever it is, we'll face it together." "Together," Nathan agreed. As they fell asleep in each other's arms, Nathan thought about the man he'd been a year ago. Broken. Alone. Ready to give up. If he could go back and tell that man what was coming, would he believe it? Would he believe that a little girl's compassion would open a door to this much happiness? Probably not. But that was the beautiful thing about life. Surprised you. It offered second chances when you least expected them. It showed you that hope was always worth holding on to. The next morning, Nathan woke to the sound of Lydia's laughter and Janelle's voice from downstairs. He lay there for a moment, just listening, his heart full to bursting. This was his life now. This noise and chaos and love. This family that had chosen each other. This home filled with warmth and laughter and second chances. He got up and headed downstairs, ready to start another day with the two people who'd saved him. Ready to build more memories, face more challenges, and cherish every moment. Because life, he'd learned, was precious. Love was powerful. And kindness could change everything. The man who'd sat crying on that park bench was gone forever. In his place was someone whole. Someone happy. Someone grateful. Someone home.